I'm not saying abolish all professions or something. And it's something else that I've always said ever since I heard Michael Brooks say it when he was in conversation with Dr. Adolph Reed Jr. This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, was that you can be in the PMC but not of the PMC, and you can be a regular working class blue collar worker, who's acting PMC.
Professor Adolph Reed Jr., thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Michael. Definitely.
So let's just get right into it. Okay. Why is this professional managerial class, why is this back in our consciousness? And how does it reflect about the specific synergy of neoliberalism and essentialism that you've long warned about?
Well, one thing about the PMC is that it's, first of all, our class, right? To be honest, it's the class that most of us belong to, people. And to that extent, right, this concern with trying to figure out how the different strata that make up this social formation of people who largely live by their intellectual production, right, like in the one way or another, professionals, managers, academics, journalists, and so forth and so on. And I guess that the notion has gotten popular again in the left circles that it's gotten popular in, partly because the technocratic wing of the Democratic Party and even the technocratic wing of the left wing or element of the left wing of the Democratic Party, and to the Sanders versus Warren dichotomy and the recognition versus redistribution debate that Nancy Fraser and Judith Butler and other people like that were engaged in the 90s. I think all these are factors that have kind of pushed this idea back up to the forefront again. But part of it, too, is connected with how we want to think about class politics and how we want to think about social transformation and what counts as social transformation. Some people, will say how we think about socialism and concerns over the technocratic shift of most of the Western social democratic parties in the decades after World War II and how that turned out.
Yeah, I think, there's a part of it that you've responded to. If you're in media advocating for any candidate, you're kind of definitionally part of this PMC. Sure, there's folks like me who support Bernie Sanders very strongly, and we, kind of enjoy making fun of people who get a big, a lot of sort of adrenal rush because of Elizabeth Warren's Medium posts. And, fair enough. We're professional. We're PMC too. My answer is not very material, which is that PMC is a state of mind. And that's what we're critiquing. And that's, sort of the point. I had the pleasure of interviewing, Celso Amorim, who was Lula da Silva's foreign minister, as people, and sure, this is he and Lula were joined at the hip. Lula's this extraordinary working class president. Celso's a highly educated, multilingual diplomat, but their mindset was the same. I think that's kind of what we're getting to.
Right? So what is the mindset? What is the mode? What are the prejudices? What are the assumptions that can be understood through this term? And what's the inherent ideology of the PMC, right? And even understanding that stuff, you might not come out against a person who happens to be PMC. That shouldn't be the point. And what it comes back to for me is just that if there's a better theory that explains the mode, the mindset, the attitude, the prejudices that we are seeing in activist spaces, if there's a better, if something else has better explanatory power, I'm all ears. I'm not dogmatically committed to this one. There's generally two reactions to the term being used at all. And one is a sort of open condescension or disdain, a sort of disavowal that will kind of just shrug it off as unimportant. And on the other side, to uncritically adopt the term as a sort of caricature, or even one could say a pejorative slur used against the people that one does not like. So the question then is, between those two options, what is the proper approach? And so what we hope is to attract people who are interested in thinking about class, not just so that they can write other people off or downplay and dismiss other people on the basis of their social position. And on the other side, attract people who want to think about this stuff critically, whether they actually are included in this term or not. For me, it's about ideology critique at the end of the day. It's about, if you want to do philosophy, you have to challenge the fundamental presuppositional frameworks and assumptions of your society. And the college educated in the United States today, besides a brief moment of reprieve through Bernie, are generally speaking not class conscious. And when they are, they don't think about their role in the reproduction of a class society. And so that's what I think we'll hopefully be able to get into.